systems that changed, and the deep warp showed no evidence of change on any scale I could perceive. The structures I felt had achieved a state of equilibrium that made the concept of duration meaningless. They did not persist through time. They existed in a condition where time was not a relevant dimension. I pulled back. The ascent felt like tearing free of gravity, not because the depth resisted, but because my own perception had begun to acclimate to its pressure, and returning to the shallow, screaming chaos of unbelievable warp felt like emerging from deep water into a windstorm. The contrast was physically painful. I gasped aloud, and the nearest choir member turned toward me with a frown of concern that I moved away with a gesture I hoped appeared controlled. My hands were shaking again. This time the tremor did not stop when I pressed them against my thighs. It migrated into my forearms, then my shoulders, then settled into a low, persistent vibration in the muscles of my jaw that made my teeth click together at irregular intervals. A physical response to psychic contact that exceeded my body's designed tolerance. I completed the monitoring cycle. I filed the report. Surface readings only, no anomaly. In my quarters afterward, I sat on the edge of my cot and stared at the bare metal wall and tried to reconcile what I had perceived with the doctrinal framework that had given my life its shape and purpose. The warp was chaos. The warp was a reflection of mortal emotion. The warp's dangers were reflections of humanity's sins, and they could be combated through purity, faith, and the Emperor's divine will. The deep warp was none of these things. It was not chaos. It was structured beyond any architecture the Imperium had ever conceived. It was not a reflection of anything human, because it had existed before humanity and would exist after humanity with the same incomprehensible patience it displayed now. It was not dangerous in any way the Imperium's defenses were designed to address, because it was not hostile. Hostility requires engagement. The deep warp was disengaged from everything above it with a completeness that rendered the concept of threat irrelevant. The ruinous powers, the four great enemies of mankind, the cosmic horrors that had consumed civilizations and damned worlds and driven entire species to extinction over millennia of supernatural war, were surface phenomena. They were the froth. They raged and devoured and corrupted, and beneath them the deep warp continued as it always had, unchanged, unmoved, uncaring. The daemons I had spent 11 years monitoring, measuring, and defending against were not the deepest horror of the immaterium. They were the shallowest. The tremor in my jaw persisted for 3 days. On the second day, I noticed that the choir's monitoring instruments had registered a subtle alteration in my psychic signature, a shift in the baseline frequency that identified my individual resonance within the collective lattice. The change was minor, within acceptable variance parameters, but I noted it with clinical detachment because I understood its cause. Extended contact with the deep warp had altered the way my psychic faculties interfaced with the immaterium. The shift was like the difference between an eye that has only seen daylight and an eye that has perceived total darkness. The pupil does not fully contract again. I could not revert to prior perceptual limitations. The depth was now a permanent feature of my awareness, a pressure I could sense at the periphery of every monitoring cycle, every litany, every moment of psychic engagement. It was like knowing that the floor beneath my feet was not solid ground, but a platform suspended over an abyss. The platform held. My duties continued, but the knowledge of what waited below changed the meaning of every step. On the 336th day, Astropath Tertia Maran Solke, a junior member of the choir who had served aboard the Penance for 2 years, attempted an unauthorized descent. I do not know how she knew. I do not know if she sensed the alteration in my psychic signature and traced its cause, or if she had independently perceived the depth during the warp assault and drawn her own conclusions, or if some other factor had led her to attempt what she attempted. I knew her only as a competent, quiet young woman with the particular rigidity of bearing that characterized psychers who had been soul-bound late and bore the scars of that tardiness in their posture. She performed the descent during an unsupervised calibration session, using a secondary focus lens that she had adjusted without my knowledge. The choir's monitoring instruments registered her psychic signature dropping below sanctioned depth at 14 minutes past the 4th hour, and by the time I reached the choir chamber, she was seated at her station with her hands resting on her resonance plate, and her eyes open and her mouth slightly parted, and her psychic presence gone. She was breathing. Her pulse was steady. Her pupils responded to light. Every physiological indicator suggested a healthy, functioning human being. But when I extended my perception toward her, I found nothing. Not the blank absence of a null or the distorted void of a pariah. Something worse. An empty vessel. The space where her psychic resonance should have existed. The fundamental harmonic that identified her as a sentient being with a soul, contained only silence. The medical adepts examined her. They found no corruption, no warp taint, no demonic signature, no neurological damage, no evidence of psychic predation as the Imperium understood the term. Her body functioned. Her mind processed sensory input and generated appropriate motor responses. She could walk when directed. She could eat when fed. She could sit when placed in a chair. She could not pray. She could not project. She could not perceive. She could not be perceived. She was a body with the absolute minimum of animating force required to sustain biological function, and nothing more. I sat with her in the isolation ward while the medical adepts completed their assessment. She stared at the wall across from her cot with an expression that was not vacant. Vacancy implies a space that was once filled, but rather settled, as though she had arrived at a condition that required no further adjustment. She spoke once. Her voice was flat, uninflected, stripped of the subtle psychic harmonics that colored every word a psyker uttered. She said, "It does not hate us." I asked her what she meant. She did not respond. She did not speak again. I ordered her sedated and confined to the isolation ward under medical supervision. I filed the incident report using the standardized classification for warp predation anomaly, which was the closest available category to what had actually occurred, and for 10,000 years.
File breakdown to the in-game look and everything in between. Hiyuki's silhouette and design are instantly recognizable. It's a spin-off of the classic Miko, or Shrine Maiden, but with some, let's say, artistic liberties taken by their designers. For example, she swaps the traditional red wide trousers for a long skirt cropped neatly at her ankles. The skirt also features these tall vertical slits that go right up to the heavens. They also feature large hip windows, revealing her tacet mark on the right side. Her robed top is styled into a halter, revealing the top portion of her tits, along with her collarbones, gold sakura necklace, and a mole on her right shoulder. It's lined with a black layer, which serves as some nice visual separation. Her midsection is adorned by an armor plate, which you actually might not notice since it's cleverly the same color as her top, which tucks into it. And these are further detailed with bows, belts, metal embellishments, and an ID card to tie it in with the Wuthering Wave style as well as the Academy. Her face is framed perfectly, with some neatly cropped front bangs, as well as some long side bangs that flow onto her chest, and with the back gathered into an enormous high ponytail. She's got snow-colored hair, including her brows and lashes similar to Jinsei, red eyes, and a sleek neutral face touched with a soft gradient of lipstick. Oh, and there's mole number 2. That's 12 vertices well spent. But to truly witness all her character model has to offer, you have to see her in motion. Everything about the way she moves is so satisfying, from her dance-like dual wielding to when she just pulls out the bow, to the way she sheathes and unsheathes her blade. And her kit goes really deep with a few stages to her rotation that ramps up with intensity as she goes into her second form. There you'll see the absolutely exhaustive layering of animations and VFX. Highly tuned slash arcs with elements of iridescence, along with supplementary red secondary slashes that go along with her red colors in her outfit, snowflake, spark, and petal particles, ice shattering and splintering, trees growing, movement distorting, after images, nonchalant back turning, an absolutely frightening impact frame, and look at this. This is the full cinematic. With each new release, I find myself wondering how is Kuro Games gonna one-up themselves this time, in terms of effort and polish. But somehow they always do. Side note, I also heavily fornicate with how well Chisa both complements and contrasts Hiyuki while being her current best teammate. There's a lot of contrasts, the white versus the black, traditional versus modern, mature versus youthful, right down to Hiyuki's graceful combat versus Chisa's erratic and jagged cuts. I had to wait so long for a good Chisa teammate and a good Glacio DPS that's actually over 5 feet tall. And one detail I really like about Hiyuki are her lashes. Like I mentioned earlier, they're white, like virtually seamless. Also, may I just say, Hiyuki has some insane watermelon crushers. Without the skirt, it's actually wild out here. And they straight up mummified these things, bro. Like, whoever was in charge of the thigh bands for this one really hates blood circulation. But as for the top, removing it reveals the full cleavage. So if you want to see it for yourself, you can download the model. As for me, I want to order Taco Bell when the AdSense comes in next month, so it's tough out here. I think it's fine in the gray, actually. One thing I noticed they do, they lightly clip it into each other. Yeah, you see that? It's what creates that tight cleavage line. Alright, special features time, and yes, I'm including her feet in this section because they have a special detail which you'll soon see. But first, let's have a general foot review. As you can see, these are some pristine looking grippers. And the toes fall in line into a linear or slightly curved slope surface. This bell detail is fire, but I do have a slight nitpick in this area, and I did look into this. Judge me all you want, but usually if you have an open toe design and you only have one strap that's like on the toes or near the toes, then usually you'll also want an ankle strap connected to the heel lock to help keep the shoe on the foot. And she does have these two different anklets, but they're not connected to the heel, so they don't fulfill that in a practical sense, but at least, you know, visually they kind of do. In other words, Hiyuki's good because she's a fictional character with law-breaking physics, but cosplayers are going to experience a move speed nerf IRL. One absolutely unhinged detail is that her veins are visible. Yeah, her feet veins. I don't know if you can see that. If you're mobile, you might not be able to see that actually. Like here and here. And this is a detail that's not even on Yuno's feet, and it's likely due to, well, at least my theory is that Yuki has an even lighter skin tone, and lighter skin tones reveal more of veins. I think most people will either be appalled or delighted by this finding. Oh, and yeah, her hands have this too. You can also straight up I just say, Hiyuki has some insane watermelon crushers. Without the skirt, it's actually wild out here. And they straight up
It's how gradients actually work. See, gradients in normal are just a straight line between two colors. If those colors are close in hue, the gradient almost always looks plastic. But it gets much worse with complementary colors. Have you ever noticed what happens here? The middle color becomes neutral gray, and that's what ruins the color. Now look at how hue makes lifeless colors actually burn. Instead of a normal gradient, her gradients looks like a curve transitioning through an extra saturated color, and you achieve this with overlay. When you use a saturated color on overlay over a regular gradient and slightly shift the hue, the gradient curve bends, making the colors really blur. So if your art looks muddy,
Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? I'm working on an illustration project and I wanted to show you how I make illustrations in Figma. Yeah, I made a video about this previously, and yeah, let's get into it. Basically, this is a sketch I made in Procreate, and I want to make it an illustration. First things first. I think we was right there in the fight. Obviously, the season ended the way we won, but you got to take it on the chin. Give credit where credit is due.
With Jason Tatum, based off of what he said, this is his favorite.
Bro. Twitch. This guy has a Twitch. That's actually insane, man.
I think we was right there in the fight. Obviously, the season ended the way we won, but you got to take it on the chin. Give credit where credit is due. So I don't want it to make it seem like I'm not giving the props, because I mean they only gonna clip the negative stuff. But like I said, I think Maxey and Edge come out of the future. Embiid is a hell of a player. George played incredibly well for their group, and that helped them win the series. They got better. Nick Nurse is a championship level coach. I give my respect to Philadelphia. Do I still think Embiid be flopping? Hell yeah.
What even are these characters, bro? It is actually really nice. Hmm. What the hell? Oh man. Just a girl who likes to draw female actor. Brainrot tired artist. For more info, okay. Oh yeah, let's start it. Shit, I'm wasting my time right now. And are you serious? Overlay layer, okay.
Mexico, particularly on social media, referring to a person who said
Bro, why is it even this accent, bro? Huh?
Migajero is a pop
It's not Megachero. It's Mega Arrow. Mega Arrow. What's it called? Come on, what the fuck is wrong with this YouTube over here? And why am I feeling so hot?
This is Dino, an anime-style illustrator known for his eye-catching, emotional and dynamic characters, but more than that,
Okay, how am I gonna color this though? I mean, it's already colored. I need to render this. Man, these two people actually unfollowed me. That's just sad, man. I mean, it's also a mistake on my part because, yeah, that's the kind of person I am, I suppose.
he's a master of dramatic lighting and expressive rough rendering. I used to think the only way to make great art was to literally perfect the scarf and other small details, and only then he starts adding shadows using a silhouette. Such a simple trick, but it makes a huge difference. Instead of forcing perfect lines from the start, he finds the shape first. Same with the scarf and other small details, and only then he starts adding shadows using a multiply layer. I've already explained this technique in cel shading video, but then something weird happens. He starts adding all kind of soft highlights and the illustration already looks almost finished. And the colors, they're really nice. I honestly thought it's impossible to get such good colors using blending modes. So how does he actually do it? I was supposed to do a study, but I'm so tired of studies. So I thought, what if I skip it this time and try drawing my own piece using Dino's trick? In this attempt I used my own brushes, but later in the video I'll switch to Dino's exact brushes, so stick around to see how they compare. The moment I tried to clean up the sketch into line art, it became... fuck. Yeah, I forced myself to leave it messy and moved on to coloring instead. I drew the light, added some random highlights using blending modes, and I got to what I thought would be the fun part. I started adding details, fixing lines, adding textures, but of course it didn't go the way I imagined. Still, I finished it. Maybe some parts were fine, but overall, not even close to Dino. The lighting felt flat and kind of lifeless, but even that failure was really useful. While I was suffering through it, I realized 4 really important questions. To find the first answer, I had to go back to his time lapses. After Dino switched to coloring, he never goes back to fix the line art. He keeps it as part of the final piece and draws everything else over it. At first, I thought he was drawing his line art using implied line. You know, when you don't outline the whole shape, just draw it with a few light strokes and let the viewer's brain finish it. And that's when the separate layers finally made sense. He bothers with them not to perfect line art, but to build the form without getting stuck fixing messy lines later. Dino plans every shape carefully, balancing detail and empty space with just brush size and transparency. To answer the next question, I had to make a great sacrifice. I just got Dino's Pixie Funbox. There isn't much content, but the stuff that is there is pure gold. Look what happens when I switch this layer. Dino's skin already has these beautiful colors, even before any lighting, and why his lighting looks so dramatic. But hold on, is it really what I think? All extra glow is reflected light from the background.
Make your cell shading look softer with this simple 3-steps strategy. Once you put all your base colors down, pick your favorite coloring brush and lower the opacity around 50%. And with the color of your shadow, draw an extra edge next to them. This will add a subtle transition between your light and shadows. It works really well on cast shadows and on cylinder-like elements. You might even use a warmish color instead, like yellows, oranges, and pinks, to play more.
Wait, why did I click on that? Yeah, this one.
I should finish this piece hours ago. All I needed was to polish a well-drawn draft. So easy. What could possibly go wrong? How come the one-layer shadow sketch still looks better than the finished render? This is cell shading, a way of simplifying light and shadow that became so easy. But what if I told you it's actually an essential skill for light and color? Shadow can make your art look way better than a full render. But why does it work? Without control, and honestly, it's pretty hard to control. The forms just fall apart and the whole piece looks kind of messy. We've all seen this happen, but those sharp edges between light and shadows in cell shading keep the rhythm and make the shapes readable even from a distance. So why did cell shading become the base for so many top artists? Let's check what it adds even to the simplest drawing. Here is a piece from Taro. Something feels missing? Shadows? Okay, so this isn't cell shading. Alright. The first actual step in cell shading is base colors. You've probably seen this 100 times in pro workflows, but if you don't take it seriously thinking, yeah, I'll fix it later, that's a fatal mistake. Look closer at how these colors are picked. They clearly separate skin, clothes, background, no heavy contrast, all kept mid-range. If you pick too dark colors, you'll have no room left for background, no heavy contrast, all kept mid-range. If you pick too dark colors, you'll have no room left for shadows. Always keep about 20-30% of brightness range free for shading, and the same goes for saturation. But then, why does Taro use such intense color, like that bright blue and green? If you guessed, accent colors? You're right, so stick around to see how to pick them in the next stage. What's really cool though, that even without shadows, this already feels like a finished piece, thanks to just base colors and a few clever tricks. One of them is using thicker liner than usual. Taro colors it slightly inside the silhouette to hide it a bit and keep the shapes clean. He also adds a couple of small highlights on the chest to give it some volume. But the real trick is the hair gradient. Instead of using a flat color, he added second color to guide your eye. What's cool is these colors have the same value, so they add only variety. So, what changes when you finally add the shadows? Most people think the most of shadows with different colors you add, the better render. So, what changes when you finally add the shadows? Most people think the most of shadows with different colors you add, the better render you get. But take a look at Chongzhen's illustrations. At first it looks super complex, but look closer. He switches between two types of edges, sharp and soft, like in basic rendering. The cool part is it's still just two colors, and that balance makes the piece feel richer without losing clarity. And like many top artists, he doesn't stop at the basic cell shading. He often adds an shadow extra color, giving the piece more depth and complexity, and that already looks closer to the style of Magun or Ask. So how to actually draw this kind of light? Well, if your shadows end up looking like this, yeah, it's wrong. That's because the light isn't really shaping the form. What Chongzhen does instead is light the focal point, while hiding the less important stuff in the shadow. That's what makes the form easier to understand. So how does he actually pick his shadow color? Before I answer, look at this. Just like Taro, his palette splits into two groups. The calm pastel hues that cover most of the piece and the bright saturated accents. The difference between them is huge. If you add too many accents, the whole piece falls apart. That's why artists follow to the 60-30-10 rule, where your most saturated colors only take up about 10%. So what's the rule Chongzhen uses for picking good shadow colors? For pastel-based colors, the shadows get more saturated, but for bright accent colors, the shadow actually get less saturated. This tiny switch makes the whole palette feel balanced and easy to control, until you try it. Keeping shadows clean across 10 layers, picking colors for each one, especially when you are not even sure which lighting setup works best. That's way too exhausting. And they call this a simple style, huh? Sure. Here is a simpler trick Kuna uses. Instead of shading layer by layer, he just drops a multiply layer over the whole character, then puts another one on top for light. And that's actually really smart, not just because you are working on one layer. The real trick is that drawing light is so much easier, way easier than drawing shadow. You should try it. Of course, it gets even easier when you plan your illustration first. That's why I built my universal art planner inside the free Adapt kit. The best. That's way too exaggerated. This tiny switch makes the whole palette feel balanced and easy to control, until you try it. Keeping shadows clean across 10 layers, picking colors for each one, especially when you are not even sure which lighting setup works best. That's way too exhausting. And they call this a simple style, huh? Sure. Here is a simpler trick Kuna uses. Instead of shading layer by layer, he just drops a multiply layer over the whole character, then puts another one on top for light. And that's actually really smart, not just because you are working on one layer. The real trick is that drawing light is so much easier, way easier than drawing shadow. You should try it. Of course, it gets even easier when you plan your illustration first. That's why I built my universal art planner in easier way another one on top for light. And that's actually really smart, not just layer by layer. He just drops a simpler trick Kuna uses. Instead of shading layer by layer, he just
Multiply. Okay, wait. Did he just duplicate the base color and then turn it to multiply?
drops a multiply layer over the whole character, then puts another one on top for light. And that's actually really smart.
Bounce light, rim light. Okay.
Not just because you are working on one layer.
Man, what the hell? What the hell? Yeah, I think it's better to give like a sharper appearance. Sharper and more interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's forget about that. Actually, should I like oh no, it looks so weird, man, but I think there can be improvise. We can improvise it by doing something like this. As it looks good enough, hopefully.
The trick is that drawing light is so much easier, way easier than drawing shadow. You should try. Of course, it gets even easier when you plan your illustration first. That's why I built my universal art planner inside the free adapt.
What is this free adapt kit? Let me see then. Yes, give it to me. A confirmation email is sent on your way. Okay. Let me open this up. Okay, when will be here though? Is it in spam? Okay, let me change my. Yes, thank you. I wanna switch my accounts. The finals, okay. Let me go back to my thingy over here. Who messaged me over here? Oh my gosh. You haven't cut your toenails in a while. This is like. Get off, man. Profile. Okay, wait. I had to check my saved stuff, right? Okay, what are other people using the more draws roses. Oh my gosh, what the hell? How many likes and stuff does it get? Okay. Oh, this one, bro.
Trend. This post went super viral because of the split post format. So they thought I just made another one. At the bottom of the post are these dots. Hold and drag them to see an animation.
I make my own animation reference. I did not know that, bro. That's actually beyond insane. Okay, what is this? Bing chilling. Yes, I understand. Show me a tutorial on how to do shading, man. How do you do shading? Tell me. I guess it won't show me like this. I need. Yes. Yes. Show me. Rendering down. Most fun part. Rendering. Yes, I'm struggling. Block in main shadow shapes. Add darker shadow. Same layer. Change shadow color. Duplicate base color. Clip on shadow layer. Change it to color mode. Paint over. What do you mean paint over? Now that you have the shading on set, you can relax and render this piece without wipers. Like merge layers. Don't forget to apply highlights and reflection for different surface materials. This is a quick tip of Photoshop, but we've done it. Oh. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Huh? Okay, you know what? You know what am I gonna do? What I'm gonna do? Magic. This one over here, this one over here. I mean, I'm not so sure myself how it will turn out to be, but hey, should I make it like okay, now unclip it. Nice. Now time to use your eraser on this. Remove everything except the one inside. Oh my gosh, I'm so intelligent. Let's go. Okay, fuck. My graphics tablet be getting scratches over there. That's so sad. Wait, why did it come out like this? Oh, wait. My nib just came out like out of nowhere. That's really weird. I can't find it. Check your spam folder. Promotions folder. Okay, I don't think it's not in promotions either. It's not in the finals either. A confirmation, can't find the message, check your spam folder. I did not get it, my friend. Yep, it's not there. What about this? Okay. Plus 30 GB. Wait, tried no cost. Google Workspace. Oh. You can put your own company in there, I see. Social, LinkedIn, Quora. Wait, what? I have no idea what's going on in Quora, man. It's like so long since I visited that place. Hmm. 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 Okay, this is done. So hopefully everything turned out to be good enough. Wait, with which color am I supposed to even? Gray color. First, you have to be aware of where the light direction is with water simplify, then simplify the shape of your drawing to simpler. Block, apply darker shadow. But still some better. Apply darker step of shadows, select the form step mode. Not only that, simply again. For shadow transition reflections, the idea basically. Oh. Wait. Okay. No. Use these. You literally have the best tool available for like making shadows and all. So why not use it? And that is selection layer. Selection tool. Indeed. Nobody can rival this method. Oh my gosh, it's insane. In the membrane, okay, never mind. I messed up a little. Let's include also a bit of this part. Okay, good. I think it's good. And now over here, like this, all the way. Oh shoot, I forgot to do my warm-up. That's not good. It is not good, it is bad. If it is not good, it is bad. Okay. Shadows formed. Let me include this part over here too. This one. Yeah. As for... I did not get it. Are you serious, man? Hey, I did not get my thingy. Yeah, I'm in my... Why am I not still getting my reference core concept? Should I try it again? Yeah, this is the one. A confirmation mail is sent on its way. Or maybe that thing is broken. Wait, let me see. When was this? October 20. It's like months ago, but... Why am I not getting it though? What the hell? Okay, you know what? Let it be.
Grab it in the description. So why is cell shading so important before you can draw complex illustrations like
As for this, let me refresh and see again if it has updated who unfollowed me. Nope. Okay, do you have any tutorial on how to do coloring or something like that? Wait, I cannot find it though. Shading, okay. Is it this one? Fidelity. Shading, okay. What do you mean mistakes while doing shading? Okay, you know what? Let me just see that shading tutorial over there. Values. Yeah, this is also like really important to watch, I suppose. And this one.
you want to start coloring your drawings but you don't really know where to start, or maybe you're after the transparent sheets that were once used in 2D animation. Let me introduce you to the first of the 3 secret techniques, layer styles. Okay, that's actually not a secret at all, but this is YouTube, so I gotta ham it up at least a little bit. Let me explain. First, I like to start by doing a sketch and then doing clean lines on top of that. Then I create a layer below my lines. You can use any drawing application for this, but I'm using Clip Studio Paint. On that layer, I add my flat colors. These are also known as local colors, which is the true color of whatever it is you're drawing. Because it's below my line art layer, I don't have to worry about coloring over my lines. You can just color them in like you would a coloring book using your brush, but oftentimes digital apps have tools to help make it easier. For instance, the bucket tool or the lasso tool. Some people like to separate every color into its own layer, but I find that having too many layers is confusing. So I like to do all my flat colors on one layer. Once you've done that, we can now create a new layer on top of your flat colors and change the blending mode to multiply. There's some math behind it, but in short, anything you put on this layer will darken the layer below it. This makes it super easy and convenient to paint shadows. Typically though, you don't just want to pick some shade of gray, but we want a bit of color in our shadows. Painting with just gray or black can make your shadows look dull or muddy. But what color should you pick? It's really up to you, especially if you're not drawing your character in a background. Typically, I like to pick a bluish color. That's because shadows are often affected by ambient light bouncing around. And in an outdoor setting, that ambient light is going to be the same color as the sky, which is blue. However, this usually doesn't look very good on skin in general. Shadows on skin tend to be warmer due to subsurface scattering. That's a big word, I know, but that basically means that light is partially absorbed by skin, bounces around a little bit in the blood and tissue, and then bounces back out. You can see this most clearly when you hold your hand up to the light. And because of that, I like to make sure that the shadows on the skin are a little bit reddish. But even after all of that, sometimes with only 2 colors, I feel like this looks a little boring. Isn't there anything we can do to make this look more interesting? Thankfully, yes. One thing I really like doing is varying the local colors a little bit. Instead of having just flat colors, I like using the airbrush to brush in some variations. For example, I like adding some redness on the nose and cheeks. I also like to lock the transparency of my shadow layer and brush in some soft gradients there as well, and instantly this makes it look a little bit more dynamic. Another thing we can do is add highlights. I make a separate light layer on top to add rim light or some highlights, especially on the hair. As for the blending mode for this, I find that screen, overlay, or add all work fine. Experiment to see what you like. In particular though,
And okay, where is it? Yeah, just like use the top. Yeah, you'll use the top one. But yeah, that's how it's gonna be. As for this, now it's time to do the deed. Do the deed to do. What did I even do over here? I have no idea myself. It's shadow, right? Let's invert this then. It's simplify the shape of the character using forms. Light darker shadows. What am I actually doing? Like, what is wrong with me?
I need this painting to be over. first to make sure your overall composition is readable. Once we're done with that, we can also add some intermediate shades in the light and shadows by thinking about the direction. Okay, now it's time for some ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion is different from other kinds of shadows in that it doesn't have much to do with the direction of your main light source. It's like a very...
You know what? Let me change the color to something else. As for this, yes, that's how it should be. As for this, let me, yeah, tonal correction, no, convert to drawing color, no, not this part, the entire part. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's too bright. Yeah, something like this, around 30%. Okay, remove this. Convert to drawing color. Yeah, I think it's good enough. History. Yes. Please, I need this. Convert to drawing color. Yeah, I have converted to drawing color. But then
Omagun, look at Magun drawing shadow. Like ask Omagun, look at Magun's process. He starts with balanced, harmonious base colors, then adds a single sharp shadow on each area. Where Akuna keeps things simple with multiply tricks, Mogun draws with clean hand-picked colors because he planned it first. This could already look finished. What's incredible is that for Mogun it's only about 20% of the work. He breaks his time down like this. About 15% goes into sketch and liner, another 20% into cell shading, and I call this a simple style, huh? Sure. Here is a simpler trick Kuna uses. Instead of shading layer by layer, he just drops a multiply layer over the whole character, then puts another one.
Okay, let it be the way it is, I guess. Let me duplicate this, duplicate layer.
A dark shadow that occurs when two surfaces are really... This can make your composition messy and hard to read, which makes it harder to focus the viewer's attention. But what color are... Somehow it just wasn't very clear. It was hard to tell what was going on. I couldn't get the bridge to stand out from the background. Was I going about this...
Where even is it?
Somehow it just wasn't really like the hard light layer style.
Oh man.
has prayed for the Emperor to rise from his golden throne. Now it's happening. But as his consciousness thunders back to life, billions are dying, their minds erased in an instant. The custodies who guarded him for centuries are falling to their knees. Only Captain Malkian remains standing, watching in horror as he realizes the terrible truth. This isn't salvation. I was there when the Emperor opened his eyes. 10,000 years of unwavering vigilance, and not once had I imagined this moment would fill me with such terror. My name is Captain Malkian Vane of the Adeptus Custodes, the 10,000, his personal guard. We who stand eternal watch over the golden throne. We who have witnessed the slow decay of a god for millennia. We who have seen empires rise and fall while we maintain our endless vigil, and now I alone remain to tell of what truly happened when he awakened. The first sign came without warning, a tremor through the floor of the inner sanctum, so subtle that only those attuned to its rhythms would notice. The tech priests dismissed it as another structural shift in the ancient mechanisms of the throne. The Sisters of Silence detected nothing through their null presence. But we custodies know the palace as we know our own armor. This was different. I remember the exact moment. Standing at the southeast position of the golden throne, my halberd planted firmly on the polished obsidian floor, eyes fixed forward as they had been for my 4-century-long vigil. The tremor came again, stronger this time. The air grew heavy, as if suddenly filled with invisible currents of electricity. The tech priests began to move more quickly around their stations, their augmetic limbs clicking and whirring with newfound urgency. Shield Captain Valoris glanced toward me, the barest movement of his golden helm. In 10,000 years, no custodian had ever broken position within the inner sanctum without direct threat or command. But something was changing. The sense of pressure built within my skull, a sensation I recognized from only the most powerful null fields generated by the Sisters of Silence, yet infinitely more potent, more focused. Then came the light, not from the mechanisms of the throne, nor from the thousands of candles and lumens that illuminate the vast chamber. This light came from him, from the withered corpse that had sat motionless for 10 millennia, a golden radiance that began as the faintest glow and quickly intensified until it outshone everything else in the chamber. I heard the tech priests cry out, their voices both terrified and rapturous. Through slitted eyes, I could see their red robes dropping to the floor as they prostrated themselves. The Sisters of Silence had begun to convulse, blood streaming from beneath their helms. Even with their null abilities, they could not withstand what was happening. I felt my own consciousness being crushed beneath an immense pressure, as if the weight of the entire Imperium was suddenly pressing down upon my mind. Through sheer will, I remained standing, my enhanced physiology and mental conditioning allowing me to endure what was already killing others around me. That was when I saw it. Through the blinding radiance, I could make out the emaciated form on the throne. The skeletal fingers that had lain motionless for eons now slowly curled. The ancient bones creaked audibly even over the growing psychic tumult, and then, impossibly, his head began to rise. The entire chamber shuddered. Dust and fragments of stone rained down from the vaulted ceiling hundreds of meters above. Ancient servo skulls dropped from the air, their machine spirits snuffed out in an instant. And still the light grew brighter, now streaming from his form invisible rays that cast impossible shadows, shadows that moved with purpose and malice despite the absence of any physical form to create them. And then, he opened his eyes. The moment, those ancient lids parted, reality itself seemed to tear. A psychic scream erupted outward, not through the air but through the very fabric of existence. I felt it pass through me like a spear of ice, momentarily stopping my twin hearts before they thundered back to life. Around me, mortal serfs and lesser functionaries collapsed instantly, blood pouring from their eyes, ears, noses, their minds simply erased by the merest touch of his awakening consciousness. Through the chamber viewports, I could see the impossible happening across Terra. Great pillars of golden light erupted skyward from the surface, punching through the atmosphere into the void beyond. Entire hab blocks were collapsing as if struck by artillery. Streams of vehicles fell from the sky lanes like metal rain. And in orbit, ships were exploding, their plasma drives detonating in spectacular silent bursts, visible even from the surface. I alone among the custodies in the chamber remained standing, though I know not why. Perhaps my proximity to him for so many centuries had granted me some small immunity to the overwhelming power now radiating from the throne. Perhaps he had some purpose for me. I do not know. But I watched as my brothers fell, their magnificent auramite armor clattering against the stone floor like discarded toys. The light from his eyes was beyond mortal comprehension, beyond even the enhanced senses of a custodian. It was as if two new suns had ignited within the chamber. Suns that somehow burned cold rather than hot. Suns that illuminated not just physical matter but thought itself. I could feel those eyes examining me, peering not just at my physical form but into the very essence of my being, cataloguing every thought, every memory, every doubt I had ever harbored. And I knew in that moment that this was not the Emperor as we had imagined him. This was not the benevolent father of mankind returning to save his Imperium from the darkness. This was something else. Something that had been transformed by 10,000 years of unimaginable suffering, 10,000 years of witnessing the slow corruption of his dream, 10,000 years of existing as both corpse and God. This was wrath incarnate. Through the agony in my skull and the pressure threatening to collapse my very being, I heard his voice, not with my ears, but directly within my mind. A voice that contained multitudes, that spoke with the weight of eons, that conveyed meanings beyond what mere words could contain. Malkion, it said, using a name I had nearly forgotten after centuries of being simply custodian. Witness what must follow. The light intensified, no longer simply radiating from him but actively reaching out, tendrils of golden energy extending through the chamber and beyond, passing through solid matter as if it were not there. I could feel those tendrils extending across Terra, across the solar system, across the galaxy itself, and wherever they touched, I somehow knew they were judging, measuring, condemning. I felt rather than heard the deaths, billions of souls snuffed out in an instant across Terra alone. Every false saint, every corrupt priest who had twisted his words for personal gain, every devotee of the imperial cult who had worshipped him as a god against his ancient decree, their minds simply ceased to exist, erased by his merciless judgment. Across the galaxy, psychers screamed and died as his power touched them through the warp. Navigators went mad, their third eyes burning out as they gazed upon a light too terrible to comprehend. Astropaths fell silent mid-transmission, their bodies crumbling to ash as his will extinguished them. The Astronomicon, already blindingly bright, now flared with renewed purpose, no longer merely a beacon but a weapon, scouring the warp of the entities that had feasted on humanity's suffering for millennia. And still it was only the beginning. I watched as his withered form began to change, the desiccated flesh filling out, not with mortal muscle and sinew, but with pure psychic energy given physical form. The countless tubes and mechanisms that had sustained his corpse for 10,000 years began to pull free, the ancient metal and plastic melting away from his rejuvenating form. The tech priests who still lived wailed in horror and ecstasy as the sacred mechanisms of the Golden Throne, which they had tended with religious devotion for millennia, were rendered obsolete in moments. He rose from the throne, slowly, inexorably, like a force of nature given human shape. His feet touched the obsidian floor for the first time in 10 millennia, and where they connected, the stone transformed, becoming something that was no longer merely physical matter. Reality rippled outward from each footfall, the very laws of physics bending in his presence. I watched as he strode forward, each step burning with purpose. His form was now a silhouette of pure golden light, vaguely humanoid but constantly shifting, as if the concept of a fixed physical appearance was beneath him now. Only his face remained recognizable, terrible in its beauty. The face that had launched 1,000 crusades, that had united humanity, that had been the last thing the arch-traitor Horus had seen before his destruction. But those eyes were no longer human at all. As he approached me, I felt my armor growing hot, the ancient auramite responding to his presence like a tuning fork to its perfect resonance. My weapon hummed, the power field flaring bright enough to blind a mortal man. He stopped before me, towering over my considerable height, the only being in the galaxy who had ever made me feel small. "Rise, Malkian Vane, last of my true guardians. There is work to be done." His words bypassed my ears entirely, materializing directly in my consciousness with such force that I nearly blacked out. I found myself standing, though I had no memory of rising from the kneeling position I had unknowingly assumed. My armor moved, with newfound lightness, as if his mere presence had blessed it beyond the craft of even the most skilled artificers. "Tell me, my son, what has become of my Imperium while I have slumbered?" How does one answer such a question? How does one summarize 10,000 years of slow decay, of corruption, of endless war, of faith twisted into fanaticism, of progress strangled by superstition? I could not speak. I could not even form coherent thoughts under the weight of his attention. But there was no need. I felt his mind effortlessly sifting through my memories, extracting everything I had witnessed in my centuries of life, everything I had learned from the histories. I felt his growing displeasure, a cold fury that threatened to freeze my blood in my veins. They have undone everything I created. The imperial truth abandoned, science sacrificed at the altar of ignorance. Humanity, enslaved by the very superstition I sought to free them from. And you, my custodes, reduced to symbolic guardians of an empty throne. I wanted to protest, to defend the Imperium that had survived against impossible odds, to explain the necessities that had driven us to become what we now were. But in his presence, such thoughts seemed hollow, the excuses of a child caught in wrongdoing. He turned away from me, his attention focused outward, beyond the walls of the palace, beyond Terra itself. I felt his consciousness expanding, touching minds across the galaxy, some withering instantly at his touch, others transformed by it. And in the warp, I sensed a great disturbance, as if the very gods of chaos themselves had suddenly been confronted by a predator far more terrible than they had ever imagined. "They named me a god," he said, the words resonating through my very bones. Against my explicit command, they twisted my vision into a religion of blind faith and mindless obedience. They built an empire of suffering in my name. And now they shall learn what it truly means to face the judgment of a god. I knew then what was coming, not salvation, not the triumphant return the Imperium had prayed for. This was extinction. This was the end of everything. For in his eyes, humanity had failed him. The dream of the imperial truth was dead, replaced by the very superstition and ignorance he had fought to overcome. And now, awakened after millennia of agony, sustained only by his indomitable will and the daily sacrifice of thousands of psychers, what remained was not the emperor of legend. This was a being of pure vengeance, determined to cleanse the galaxy of the corruption his beloved humanity had become. What happens when the emperor wakes? The universe trembles, the gods themselves quail in fear, and mankind faces the judgment it has unknowingly prayed for. And I, Malkion Vane, last faithful son of the true emperor, faced a choice no custodian should ever have to make: to serve my god, or to save humanity from him. The inner sanctum had become a tomb. Bodies lay scattered across the obsidian floor, their final moments frozen in poses of rapture or terror. The air was thick with the copper tang of blood and the acrid scent of burnt electrical components. Through the massive armored viewports, I could see the skyline of the Imperial Palace, once the most imposing vista in human civilization, now partially in ruins. Great sections had simply collapsed, as if the stone and adamantium had lost the will to remain standing. The Emperor moved through this devastation like a figure from ancient myth, his golden light illuminating the destruction he had wrought with his mere awakening. I followed in his wake, my enhanced body responding to his unspoken command. The corridors of the inner palace, once crowded with supplicants, tech priests, and guards, were now silent save for the echo of his footsteps and the heavy tread of my armored boots. We passed chambers where high lords had once debated, now filled with corpses slumped over ancient tables. We walked through chapels where the faithful had worshipped him as a god, the golden aquilas and sacred icons now melted into unrecognizable lumps of precious metal. Wherever faith had been strongest, death had been most complete. As we approached the Eternity Gate, the massive portal that separated the inner palace from the outer, I saw the first signs of resistance. A line of space marines from various chapters, their armor bearing the scars of 1,000 battles, stood with bolters raised. Their helmets were removed, their faces resolute but afraid. At their center stood a figure in ornate artificer armor, the heraldry of the imperial fists gleaming in the unnatural light. "My lord," said the Space Marine captain, his voice steady despite the terror I could sense behind it. "We beseech you to halt. Something is wrong. The deaths, the destruction. This cannot be your will." I tensed, certain that these noble but misguided warriors were about to be obliterated. To question the Emperor, to stand before him with weapons raised, however respectfully, it was unthinkable. But he paused, his radiance dimmed slightly, as if he were focusing it, concentrating it for what was to come. "My sons," he said, his voice echoing not through the air but directly into our minds. "My flawed creations, you who were meant to be the guardians of humanity, not its jailers, look upon me and know your failure." The light from his form intensified again, but this time it was focused, a beam of pure golden energy that struck the Space Marines. I expected them to be vaporized, their genetically enhanced bodies reduced to ash by his wrath. Instead, something far more terrible occurred. They began to change, their armor, their weapons, even their flesh becoming translucent, revealing the truth beneath. I saw the corruption in their gene seed, the flaws that had developed over 10,000 years of degraded reproduction. I saw the pride that had replaced duty, the blind obedience that had replaced reason. I saw every compromise, every failure, every moment when they had chosen dogma over truth. And so did they. One by one, they fell to their knees, their weapons clattering to the floor. Some wept openly, faces contorted in anguish as they confronted the gulf between what they were and what they had been intended to be. Others simply stared, their minds unable to process the revelation forced upon them. Only the captain remained standing, though he swayed as if struck by a physical blow. His face was wet with tears, yet his eyes remained fixed on the Emperor with a devotion that transcended the horror of his revelation. "We have failed you," he said simply, "but we have always loved you, Father." For a moment, something flickered across the Emperor's face, an emotion I could not name, gone almost before it registered. "Love," he said, the word resonating with complex harmonics. "You know nothing of love. What you feel is dependency, the blind devotion of a child to a parent they cannot understand. It is not love that I require from my creations. It is growth. It is wisdom. It is the courage to become more than what you were made to be." His light intensified again, and this time when it struck the captain, there was no revelation, only annihilation. The proud Space Marine, veteran of countless battles against the enemies of mankind, simply ceased to exist, not burned, not torn apart, but erased, as if he had never been. The others followed, one by one, their existence snuffed out with the casual indifference of a man swatting insects. I stood rooted to the spot, my mind struggling to process what I was witnessing. These were the Emperor's own creations, his gene sons, however distant. They had served him for 10,000 years, fighting and dying in his name across the breadth of the galaxy. and he had extinguished them without hesitation, without mercy. You question my actions, Malkion. His attention turned to me, that infinite gaze boring through my mental defenses as if they were mist. You wonder if this is justice, if this is what mankind prayed for during the long millennia of my entombment. I did not respond. I could not. But my thoughts betrayed me. I have seen your mind, loyal Malkion. I know that you believe the Imperium, for all its flaws, for all its cruelty and superstition, is the only thing standing between humanity and extinction. You believe that I am condemning mankind to death by removing the structures, however corrupt, that have preserved it. He gestured, and reality seemed to fold around us. Suddenly we were no longer in the corridor outside the Eternity Gate, but standing on a balcony high above the outer palace. The vista before us was one of apocalypse. Great swathes of the endless city that was Terra were in flames or reduced to rubble. The sky was torn with unnatural storms, bolts of golden lightning striking from cloudless heavens. And throughout it all, I could sense the deaths continuing, billions upon billions of souls judged and found wanting. This is not extinction, Malkion. This is transformation. His voice was softer now, almost gentle, yet still carrying that undercurrent of absolute authority that brooked no disagreement. Mankind has spent 10,000 years destroying itself in my name. They have built an empire on the bones of their brothers and sisters. They have sacrificed freedom for security, truth for comfort, the future for the past. They have become less than human while claiming to represent the pinnacle of humanity. He turned to me, his face both beautiful and terrible, the face of a father forced to discipline beloved children. I did not create mankind to worship me. I created the Imperium to free humanity from the shackles of superstition and fear, to guide them toward a future where they would need no gods, no emperors, where each human life would be lived in the light of reason and compassion. Look upon what they have created instead. With a gesture, he expanded my perception, allowing me to see through the eyes of 1 billion souls across Terra. I saw the hideous inequality, the vast masses toiling in conditions little better than slavery, while the High Lords lived in unimaginable luxury. I saw the casual cruelty, the lives thrown away for the most trivial of reasons. I saw the superstition that had replaced science, the mindless rituals that had replaced understanding. I saw an empire that preserved human life while destroying everything that made that life worth living. And beyond Terra, the vision expanded. Hive worlds where trillions lived and died without ever seeing the sky. Forge worlds where human flesh was fused with machine not for enhancement but for control. Death worlds where children were sacrificed to produce a handful of space marines. An imperium that devoured its own people to sustain itself, that committed atrocities beyond counting in the name of survival. This is not my Imperium, he said. This is not what I fought for. This is not what my sons died for. This is a perversion, a mockery of everything I sought to build. The vision faded, returning me to the balcony, to the sight of Terra burning. But now I noticed something I had missed before. Amid the destruction, there were places where the golden light touched more gently. Isolated communities where the inhabitants had suddenly stopped, their eyes widening as some new understanding blossomed within them. Individuals scattered throughout the devastation who now moved with purpose, their faces transformed by revelation rather than obliterated by judgment. I am not destroying humanity, Malkion. I am saving it. Those who built their lives on lies, on the worship of a false god they created in my image, those who profited from the suffering of their fellows, who hoarded knowledge that should have been shared, who used my name to justify their own power. They cannot be part of what comes next. But those who sought truth despite the lies they were fed, who showed compassion in a system designed to crush it, who questioned when they were told only to obey, they will be the seed of a new humanity, a humanity worthy of the future I envisioned. He turned away from the vista of destruction, his attention focused inward, towards something I could not perceive. But first, the old order must be completely dismantled. The institutions that have corrupted my vision must be broken beyond repair. The false faith built in my name must be expunged from human consciousness. And those who have benefited most from this corruption must face the harshest judgment. I felt his attention expanding outward, beyond Terra, beyond the Sol system, into the vast expanse of the galaxy, and I knew what would come next. The Lords of Mars with their hoarded technology, the chapter masters of the Adeptus Astartes with their feudal empires, the Inquisitors with their absolute authority and secret agendas, all those who had built power upon the foundation of his absence, they would be the next to face his judgment, and after them, a reckoning with enemies older and more terrible still, the Chaos Gods who had corrupted his favorite son, the alien empires that had preyed upon humanity during its moments of weakness. The ancient evils lurking in the dark corners of the galaxy, none would be spared the light of his attention. It would be the end of everything. Every power, every institution, every belief system that had defined the galaxy for 10,000 years, wiped away to make room for something new, something that, I was beginning to understand, would have no place for the vast majority of humanity as it currently existed. And in that moment, standing beside the being I had been created to serve, the God I had worshipped in deed if not in word for centuries, I felt the first seed of doubt take root in my soul. A question that no custodian should ever ask. Was the Emperor still worth serving? The seed of doubt grew as we traversed the ruins of what had once been the greatest human civilization in history. The Emperor moved with terrible purpose, his light judging and condemning wherever it touched. I witnessed the death of billions, their minds simply erased by his passing thought. I saw ancient institutions crumble, their leaders judged and found wanting. I watched as the entire apparatus of imperial governance, built over 10 millennia, was dismantled in hours. For most, death was instantaneous. Their consciousness extinguished the moment his light touched them. For others, the worst offenders in his eyes, death came more slowly. High lords who had ruled in his name were forced to experience the suffering their decisions had caused, living through every death, every moment of pain, every despair their rule had inflicted. Cardinal priests of the ecclesiarchy were made to see the true emperor they had never known, their faith burned away by the reality of his presence before their lives followed. Inquisitors who had committed genocide in his name felt the deaths of every innocent soul they had condemned. It was justice of a sort, but it was justice without mercy, without consideration for the impossible circumstances these humans had faced, without acknowledgement of the fact that most had simply been trying to preserve what they believed he had created. We stood now in the ruins of the ecclesiarchal palace, the vast cathedral complex that had once been the center of the imperial cult. The golden statues had melted, the stained glass had shattered, the sacred texts had burned. The priests who had tended this place were gone, their bodies nowhere to be seen, as if they had been erased from existence itself. "Why have you brought me here, my lord?" I finally found the courage to ask, my voice sounding thin and mortal in the aftermath of such destruction. His response was not in words but in images, memories pulled from my own mind and others, shown to me with a clarity that was almost painful. I saw the birth of the imperial cult in the years after his interment on the Golden Throne. I saw the political calculations of those who had encouraged it, the earnest belief of those who had spread it, the comfort it had provided to countless trillions living in a galaxy of horrors. I saw the Horus heresy from his perspective, the betrayal of his most beloved son, the corruption of half his Space Marine legions, the near destruction of everything he had built. I felt his pain as he was forced to destroy Horus, his grief as he was carried broken to the Golden Throne. And I felt the moment when his mortal body failed but his will refused to follow, trapping him in an eternity of pain, an eternity of witnessing his dream twisted into a nightmare. 10,000 years of agony, Malkion. 10,000 years of watching everything I built perverted into its opposite. 10,000 years of being transformed from a man with a vision into a god without mercy. What would such an experience do to you, I wonder? What would it do to any being? matter how powerful. For the first time since his awakening, I heard something like doubt in his voice. Not doubt in the rightness of his actions, but doubt in what he had become. They made me a god, Malkion. Against my wishes, against everything I fought for, they placed me on a pedestal and worshipped the idea of me while betraying everything I actually stood for. And in doing so, they changed me. The belief of trillions is a power in itself, their faith, their devotion, their prayers. For 10,000 years it has battered against my consciousness. For 10,000 years I have endured not just the physical pain of my ruined body, but the psychic pain of their misplaced worship. He turned to me then, his face more human than I had seen it since his awakening, lined with an exhaustion older than most civilizations, and now I find myself behaving as the god they made me. Judgmental, merciless. Seeing humanity not as individuals worthy of compassion but as a mass to be shaped, to be judged, to be condemned or saved according to my whim. This is what they have made of me, Malkion. This is what I have allowed myself to become. I had no words. What response could there be to such a confession from such a being? He continued, his voice growing stronger, the momentary vulnerability vanishing like morning mist. But it changes nothing. The Imperium as it exists cannot be saved. It is built on foundations of lies and fear. It perpetuates suffering on a scale that would drive you mad if you could truly comprehend it. It has betrayed every principle I fought for. It must be torn down completely before anything worthwhile can be built in its place. He gestured, and once again reality folded around us. Now we stood in orbit, looking down upon Terra from the void. The planet was transformed, great swathes of its endless cityscape now lying in ruins. The orbit was filled with debris, the remnants of ships and stations destroyed in the REM, the first moments of his awakening. But more terrifying was what I saw happening to the warp. The immaterium, that parallel dimension of psychic energy that had always been a seething cauldron of madness and danger, was changing. Great currents of golden light now coursed through it, burning away the corruption that had defined it for millennia. The daemons and entities that had called it home were fleeing before this light or being consumed by it. And at the center of this transformation was him, his consciousness extended into the warp itself, reshaping it by the sheer force of his will. I could feel the panic of the Chaos Gods as their domains were invaded, as the souls they had claimed were torn from their grasp, as the very laws of their reality were rewritten by a power they had thought safely contained. For the first time in 10,000 years, the ruinous powers knew fear. But it was not only the creatures of chaos that were affected. Across the galaxy, every being with even the slightest psychic sensitivity was feeling his presence. Most human psychers had already died in the first moments of his awakening, their minds too fragile to withstand his unshielded power. But now, I could sense the death spreading, touching races that had never worshipped him, never even known of his existence. The Eldar, those few who had survived the birth of Slanesh, were screaming as their souls were judged by a god not their own. The Orcs, whose crude warjh energy had created its own gods, found those deities suddenly contested by a power beyond their comprehension. Even the Tyrannid hive mind, that vast alien consciousness that had consumed countless worlds, recoiled from the golden light now spreading through the warp. This was not salvation. This was not even vengeance. This was extinction on a galactic scale. "My lord," I said, my voice steady despite the horror growing within me, "is this truly your will, the death of all sentient life?" He turned to me, his expression unreadable, his eyes now burning with a light that threatened to overwhelm my enhanced vision. "Not death, Malkion. Transformation. Those worthy will survive. Those who can adapt to a universe without gods save one, without the crutch of faith, without the comfort of comfortable lies. They will be the foundation of what comes after. And how many will that be, my lord? How many out of the trillions who now live?" He was silent for a long moment, his attention seemingly focused on the restructuring of reality happening around us. Fewer than you would wish, Malchion, more than you might fear. But numbers are irrelevant. It is quality that matters now, not quantity. Humanity has bred itself into the trillions, but at what cost to the individual human soul? Better a billion free humans than a trillion slaves to superstition and fear. I thought of the Imperium I had known, of the countless lives spent to maintain it, of the sacrifices made, the horrors endured, all to preserve a system that, for all its flaws, had kept humanity alive in a galaxy determined to exterminate it. I thought of the faith that had sustained ordinary humans through lives of unimaginable hardship. I thought of the courage shown by mortals who had none of my enhancements, none of my advantages, yet still stood against the darkness. And I made my decision. My lord, I cannot allow this to continue. The words left my mouth before I had fully formed the thought behind them. Treason of the highest order, heresy beyond imagining, yet I knew them to be right the moment they were spoken. His attention turned to me fully now, that golden gaze focusing with an intensity that threatened to unmake me where I stood. I felt my armor growing hot, my skin beginning to blister beneath it. My mind screamed under the pressure of his regard. You would stand against me, Malchion? You who were created to serve me? You who have witnessed the corruption of everything I built? You would defend this mockery they have made of my Imperium? Despite the pain, despite the certainty of my own destruction, I stood firm. I would defend humanity, my lord. The humanity that exists, not the humanity you wish existed. The humanity that has survived 10,000 years of horror through faith and sacrifice and courage. The humanity that, for all its flaws, still contains the potential for everything you once hoped it might become. The pressure intensified. I felt blood vessels bursting in my eyes, in my brain. I tasted copper as my enhanced body struggled to repair damage faster than it was being inflicted. My armor, designed to withstand the most extreme environments in the galaxy, was beginning to melt around me. Yet still I stood. They are not worthy of your defense, Malchion. They have squandered every gift I gave them. They have built an empire of suffering on the ruins of my dream. They worship me as a god while betraying everything I stood for. I met his gaze, though it felt like staring into twin suns. They are human, my lord, imperfect, frightened, limited in their understanding, but they have survived. They have endured horrors you cannot imagine while you slumbered. They deserve better than extermination at the hands of the being they have spent 10 millennia praying for. For an instant, I thought I saw something flicker across his face. Doubt? Recognition? I could not say. But the pressure eased, just slightly. And what would you have me do instead, my faithful Malchion? Return to the Golden Throne? Resume my endless vigil while the Imperium continues its slow decay? Accept the worship of trillions while watching them destroy themselves in my name? I had no answer. What alternative could I offer to a being of such power, such knowledge? What compromise could there be between his vision of humanity's potential and the flawed reality of what humanity had become? Then, unbidden, a memory surfaced, not mine, but his, shared with me in that moment of connection. The Emperor, as he had been during the Great Crusade, standing before the vast window of his flagship, looking out at a newly compliant world. A human world brought back into the fold of the Imperium, not through conquest, but through diplomacy, through reason, through the shared vision of a better future. I felt his pride in that moment, his hope for what humanity might become, and I felt something else, something I had not expected to find in the being who had just condemned billions to death. Love. Genuine love for the species he had dedicated his existence to guiding, protecting, elevating. My lord, I said, the words coming slowly as I struggled against the pain still radiating through my body. You once believed in humanity's potential to grow beyond its flaws. You once had patience for their slow evolution toward the beings you knew they could become. Has that changed? Or have you simply lost the compassion that tempered your judgment? The pressure increased again, and I felt myself being lifted off the ground, my armor creaking as unseen forces threatened to crush me. "Compassion," he thundered, the word reverberating through the warp itself. "I have watched for 10,000 years as they murdered each other in my name, as they burned those who sought knowledge, as they tortured those who questioned their dogmas, as they sacrificed their own children to appease a God that was never listening. And you speak to me of compassion? Despite the agony, despite the certainty of my death, I persisted. Yes, my lord. Compassion, the quality you once valued above all others, the quality that separated you from the tyrants who came before you, the quality that made your imperium worth fighting for. He held me suspended for what seemed like an eternity, his mind probing mine, searching for deception, for weakness, for the flaw that would justify my destruction. And all the while, his power continued to spread across the galaxy, judging, condemning, remaking. Finally, he set me down. The pressure eased, though it did not disappear entirely. My armor was ruined, the once golden oromite blackened and warped by heat no physical weapon could have generated. My skin beneath was burned, though my enhanced healing had already begun to repair the damage. You truly believe they are worth saving, Malkion? This imperium that has betrayed everything I created it to be? These humans who worship me as a god while ignoring everything I taught them? I stood straight despite the pain, meeting his gaze as directly as I could. I believe that among the trillions you would condemn, there are those who embody everything you once valued in humanity. Courage, compassion, the will to improve themselves and their world. They are the minority, yes, they have always been the minority. But they exist, and they deserve the chance to build something better from the ruins of what has failed. He was silent for a long moment, his attention seemingly divided between our conversation and the restructuring of reality continuing around us. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter, the pressure of his presence slightly diminished. "And what would you have me do, Malkion? What alternative do you offer to my judgment?" I considered my answer carefully, knowing that the fate of trillions hung on my response. "Guide them, my lord. Not as a god dealing death from above, but as you once did, as a leader. Show them the path to the future you envisioned. Correct their errors, yes. Punish those who have most egregiously abused your name, yes. But give humanity the chance to learn, to grow, to become worthy of the potential you once saw in them." His expression was unreadable, his thoughts beyond my comprehension. Around us, the transformation of the warp continued, though it seemed to have slowed slightly, as if he were diverting some portion of his attention to our conversation. "You ask me to be patient with a species that has had 10,000 years to learn from its mistakes, and has instead only compounded them. You ask me to guide those who have proven themselves incapable of following the most basic principles I established. Yes, my lord, because that is who you were. Not a god of judgment, but a teacher, a father, one who understood that growth requires time, requires mistakes, requires forgiveness." He turned away from me, his gaze directed outward, toward the galaxy that lay exposed before him. I could feel his consciousness touching distant stars, distant minds, weighing and measuring the worth of civilizations that had risen and fallen during his long absence. "Perhaps," he said finally, "there is wisdom in your words, Malkion. Perhaps my judgment has been hasty. Colored by 10,000 years of pain and witnessing the perversion of my work, perhaps there is another way." I felt a sudden shift in the warp, a redirection of the golden energy that had been remaking it, not a cessation, but a change in purpose. Where before it had been a weapon of judgment, now it seemed to be. Searching, examining, evaluating with greater care. "I will not return to the Golden Throne," he continued. "That prison has held me for too long, nor will I allow the continuation of the imperial cult, the perversion of science into religion, the transformation of my imperium into a theocratic nightmare. These things end now. But the destruction, the judgment, these I will reconsider. There may be more worth preserving than I first believed. Relief flooded through me, so intense that for a moment I feared I might collapse despite my enhanced physiology. He had listened. The being who could remake reality with a thought had considered the words of his creation and found merit in them. "Thank you, my lord," I said simply, knowing that no more elaborate response was necessary or appropriate. "Do not thank me yet, Malkion." His voice carried a warning now. "What comes next will still be the end of the Imperium as it has existed for millennia. The corrupt will still face judgment. The institutions built on lies will still be dismantled. The false faith created in my name will still be expunged, but it will be done with discernment, with recognition that not all who participated in this system were equally culpable." He turned back to me, his expression now that of a general planning a campaign, focused and determined. "And you, my faithful, doubting Malkion, you who had the courage to question a god, you will be my instrument in what comes next, my voice among those who cannot withstand my direct presence, my ambassador to the humanity I once knew and may come to know again." Before I could respond, reality shifted once more. The void of space disappeared, replaced by the ruined grandeur of the imperial palace. We stood in a chamber I recognized, though it had been transformed by his presence. The Senatorum Imperialis, where the High Lords of Terra had once governed the Imperium in his name. The massive table where they had sat was untouched, but the thrones, arranged around it, were empty, their former occupants now judged and found wanting. "Here is where we begin the Reformation," he said, moving to the head of the table and gesturing for me to take the seat to his right. "The first of many such conversations that will determine the shape of what comes next. You have earned your place in this, Malkion. Your voice will be heard." As I took my seat, I felt the weight of what had just occurred. I, a custodian created to serve without question, had questioned the Emperor himself and lived to tell of it. More than that, I had affected his judgment, had turned his wrath, if not to mercy, then at least to more measured consideration. It was heresy beyond imagining. It was also, perhaps, the most faithful service I had ever rendered. "What comes next will not be easy, Malkion," he said, reading my thoughts with casual ease. "The galaxy has grown used to its corruption, its compromises, its comfortable lies. Removing these will cause pain, resistance, even open rebellion. There will be war unlike any seen since the Horus Heresy. There will be suffering on a scale that would break a lesser being to witness. But there will also be hope. A chance for humanity to become what it was always meant to be, free from the shackles of blind faith, free from the predation of chaos and Xenos alike, free to grow into its psychic potential without the corruption that has always accompanied it." He leaned forward, his eyes now burning with determination rather than judgment. "This is the task before us, Malkion. Not the destruction of humanity, but its rebirth. Are you prepared for what that entails?" I thought of the Imperium I had known, of its cruelties and its kindnesses, of the trillions of lives that would be affected by what was to come, of the institutions, the beliefs, the very foundations of human civilization that would be torn away, leaving countless souls adrift in a galaxy suddenly transformed. I also thought of the potential that had always existed within humanity, the capacity for greatness that the Emperor had recognized and sought to nurture, the future he had envisioned, where mankind would evolve beyond its primitive roots to become something truly transcendent, a future that might now, against all odds, still be possible. "I am ready, my lord," I said, my voice steady with newfound purpose, "for humanity, for the future, for the Imperium that may yet be." He nodded, satisfied with my answer. And in that moment, as his attention turned to the reshaping of human destiny, I understood the true answer to the question that had started this entire journey. What happens when the Emperor finally wakes? Everything changes. The galaxy trembles, the gods themselves quail in fear, and mankind faces not the end, but a new beginning. Whether that beginning leads to extinction or transcendence remains to be seen. But I, Malkion Vane, last faithful son of the true Emperor, will be there to witness it, and perhaps, in some small way, to guide it. The work began immediately. There was no ceremony, no declaration, no formal announcement of the emperor's return. Such things were unnecessary when his presence was felt in the mind of every psychically sensitive being in the galaxy. Instead, there was purpose, direction, the reshaping of a civilization that had spent 10,000 years slowly decaying. The emperor's judgments continued, but with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel rather than the indiscriminate destruction of his initial awakening. The highest echelons of imperial power were the first to face his scrutiny. Those who had abused their authority, who had twisted his vision to serve their own ends, who had profited from the suffering of others, these were removed without mercy. Not erased from existence as before, but punished in ways that fit their crimes, their minds rewritten to understand the full weight of their transgressions. Others, those who had genuinely sought to serve humanity, despite the corruption of the system they inhabited, were spared. Some were even elevated, their minds expanded by his touch, their understanding deepened to comprehend the true scope of what was to come. I watched as he remade Terra, the cradle of humanity transformed once again into a beacon of what mankind could achieve. The endless hive cities, with their billions of inhabitants living in squalor and ignorance, were not destroyed but renovated, open to light and air for the first time in millennia. The factories that had belched poison into the atmosphere for 10,000 years were reconsecrated, their machine spirits replaced with technology that had been kept hidden in the vaults of Mars. And Mars itself, the red planet, had trembled at his return, its population of tech priests divided between those who welcomed the chance to rediscover the true spirit of innovation that had been buried beneath millennia of ritual, and those who clung desperately to the religious trappings that had defined the mechanicum for so long. The latter were judged harshly, their hoarded knowledge extracted before their consciousnesses were extinguished. The former were transformed, their augmetic bodies enhanced beyond their wildest dreams, their minds freed from the doctrines that had constrained them. The technologies that had been locked away, deemed too dangerous or too sacred for common use, were now examined with fresh eyes. Some were indeed too volatile, too corrupted by chaos, or the entities of the void to be safely employed. These were destroyed utterly. But others, technologies that could have eased the suffering of trillions, that could have advanced humanity's development by millennia, these were brought forth and distributed.
What do you mean, whatever the fuck you want? When you're not doing that earlier? It's like I mean, I've like drawing after a really long time. Like, how many months has it been since I was like doing streaming, like animation streams? So yeah, that was one thing, and like doing illustrations was like other thing. But yeah, I haven't been doing like illustrations for like a few months, and at that point, I was like, I'm like way burnt out of like doing animations. Like I have to like still work on one of them. I'm still working on it, but right now I feel like I've gotten a bit rusty when it comes to like doing illustrations, and also like there were so many things that I had to learn to in drawing illustrations, like understanding coloring, rendering, all those kind of stuff, doing gesture drawings and all. Yeah, like I had to revise everything. Like I had to go back to my tutorials and all. I'm like still learning. I'm still checking on like if I'm following the proper procedure correctly. And yeah, like that's how I decided on like, you know what, let's like dedicate more of my time in like drawing. And also like there were like quite a lot of like references that I had saved up that I had like planned on drawing them later on, but I never planned on it. And now, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Like as you can see, this was like one of the drawing that I wanted to work on, but I never did, but now I'm doing it. And by the way, thick as oatmeal, long time no see, how have you been? Hope everything's been going well. Hello, hello. Man. Okay, what else was I supposed to do? You draw mostly in anime style, right? Yep. That's like that's the reason that I like doing art. Yeah, exactly. Wait, should I be doing this in order to give that depth of maybe I should extend it this way. See, I have like forgotten so many stuff here. It's a little bit weird. I have forgotten the shapes, the size, everything. And it's taking some time for me to adapt to it. And also I have come across many things that I have never learned before, and now that I'm learning, yeah, I am working on it. Yep, just been busy with work, so there's this art competition that might be of interest to you. Wait, really? Do let me know then. Oh wait, should I like, yeah, I think I should be connecting them both like this. Okay, that makes more sense, I suppose. Yep, that definitely makes more sense. I should be practicing more clothing, yeah, cloth folds and everything. That's like the major thing that I'm lacking at, as you can see. This sleeve here is like completely butchered and I have no idea how to fix this. Man, this is so sad. Am I allowed to post links? I don't think you can post links. You can just tell the name, like the name of that art competition. You can just tell me that I will try to find it in any social media or Google or anywhere. You just tell me what this competition is and what is it about. And there's also like some chance that wait. Okay, it's like straight down. Look up Giant Hunt on Insta. Okay, in Instagram. Okay, let me see. What even is that? Giant Hunt sounds like so basically you gotta make your own character in anime manga style. Make your own character. Own character means original character. You mean OC? World's largest anime art contest, official Guinness World Record, 3 crore prizes. Wait, I think I heard this before. Oh yeah, I think it was like wait, I think I tried to fill out its form or something. Wait a minute. No, it was, I think, something else. I have heard like 2 or 3 art competitions that were happening in India, if I remember correctly. Win a 2 BHK apartment worth of 1 crore. Wait, what? What the hell? You gotta draw your own character in anime style manga. What do you mean make our own character in... Okay. If it's like a Western styled character that's yours, then you have to like convert it to anime style, right? Well. My character is already anime in nature, and that now that I remember, observe. Hmm. I gotta put shadow in that part too, Lamau. Okay, I think it looks better now. Oh, and oh yeah, by the way, what I'm already drawing is my OC. My PNG tuber that you see is already an OC, and if you see my artworks on the top right corner, like some of them you will probably recognize that most of my artworks are the work of my OC. Oh wait, that now I remember I need to change my PFP. Wait, what's my PFP for Twitch? Okay, Twitch was like okay. Okay, yeah, I had to like change from my Twitter and other places. Okay, so like what is this? Register for the giant hunt details. Okay. You gotta pay to enter this contest. I see how it is. I love that, but not confident that I removes that ability manga drawing corner animator. Designs character type based visuals to transport picnic. Be a part of NVIDIA. Be a sort of title letter. Be some record of participation. Human made art. Oh, okay. This is also like anti-AI. Nice. Yep. If it needs to be an original character and they already given a few archetypes to choose from. I got that you mostly draw her. Yep. So like my entire plan of being an illustrator, animator, anything, all that kind of stuff was an inspiration from like a few certain art pages that I saw where like they drew a particular OC of theirs and they just drew that OC of theirs like yeah, they like drew it in any way possible stuff and all, and I was like, oh okay, so they drew their like idealized version of the character they love, and I was like, you know what, I have also something in mind and I also want to make something like that. And yeah, so yeah, here I created my character and her name is Maya. For those who don't know, the name I gave her is Maya, and there are also plans that I have regarding her lore, story, background, interests, hobbies, work stuff, and everything. So yeah, I am like planning on even probably making like few short animations and yeah, something like a comic. Yeah, I mean comic and animations will be good. So yeah, like I have like big plans or like making some comics and animation stuff that's related to her, about her lore and everything. And I have something in mind. I have like lots of stories that that I have in mind that I wanna implement it and like present it to everyone through her. So yeah, like this OC over here will also be like the medium of giving any message that I want to send to everyone throughout the world. Okay. Okay, that's like extremely bad attempt. So yeah, like I have like a lot of plans regarding this stuff about her, of my next art directions regarding her. Wait, I think I should be folding it like this, not abruptly, like yeah, something like this. I guess that's how folds cloth move around. Okay, and for this, I guess it's gonna be something like this. Okay, now I made this, so unclip this. Yeah, I knew something. It's gonna be like this. Wait, what should I do then? Okay, let's select everything, and then okay, it's like selected outside, so unclip this, and now just erase everything outside. Erase every problem over here, every shadow that gone outside. Oh yeah, also I'm like trying out new methods, hacks and everything to help me with my drawings a little easier. So multiply layer is done. What is this layer above? Yeah, it was this one. Oh shoot, wait, it's already blending good enough. I never knew about it. So your OC already has an answer to where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Yeah, something like that. I mean, the foundation of her existence will also be her future kind of thing. So yeah, she'd be like, ask this guy, he'll know. Yeah, it will be something like that. Wait, why is it like this though? Why? Okay, yeah, the colors are not. Okay, now I put on top of this. Now I need to clip this, and now wait, blending mode. What is the blending mode? There's a color mode. Color. Change it to color. Oh yes, man, this is the best shading method. Yep, this technique is so easy, man. So easy. Yep, I'm able to do it in such simple way. Nice. Okay, and also I can do like something like add more shadows. Wait, is there even any need to add more shadows? I think I should be adding like highlights or stuff. No. Wait, where's that tutorial that I was looking for? Gradients.
Let me show you how I changed the
I have also like my browser open on the other side. Like my tabs of tutorials are like open, and the sites in case like I don't understand how I'm supposed to like perform that work. I have it like open. What is this? How I color my shading? The concept is cool shadow is equal to warm shadow is equal to light. Wait, where's that tutorial that I was looking for? Wait, I heard something. Struggling with shading. Oh yeah, this one. Blocking main shadow. Okay, that's done. Add darker shadows. Wait, what do you mean by darker shadows? Okay, you know what? Let's do it. Let's add darker shadows then. Yeah, this was normal, right? Then that means Wait, what's going on? The colors on top, so I have to add like darker shadows. How is that gonna work then? Okay, do I have to like unclip it? No. Okay. Now it's working the way I intended it to be. Okay, darker shadows means add one more layer, I suppose. And call. Wait. No, I don't need to do it. I can just do it on this same layer itself, right? How do you do it? Okay, it becomes the same layer. So I need to like make my brush value a little darker than that's how I guess it's gonna be. Okay, hardness 0, almost 0. What is it? My hardness value is 1. No, I'm talking about the brush, not anything else. Lamau. Yeah, I gotta do something like this, I suppose. Wait, I'm actually cooking. Wait a minute. Okay, okay, I missed something over here. Let me remove this, select this, and then again open this. Yeah, there are like brushes that went out a little bit. Now it's fine. Okay, yeah, I have to like flip it to layer below. Now it should be working. Let's darken it a bit, like this, I suppose, like this. Something like this. Oh, Bihari surname, oh my gosh. It's the taste of Bihar. Welcome, Swordfish. How have you been? Hope everything's been going well. Hello. Okay, I think I smushed it a little too hard. Wait, how do I make it like 0? Okay. Manually type it 0, and I don't think it's 0 enough. Anyways. Blend tool. Oh yeah, I think I should use blur tool instead. I think this feels better. So my secondary shadows feels better with this method. Do you know why you are using darker value for shadow for some places and some shadows light? I mean, I'm not really sure because I'm literally watching a tutorial, but they did say like, yeah, like where the lights, where lights have the hardest time to go to, like they will also be like the darkest parts of your drawing, right? So something like this, like way inside big shadows. I guess that would be like perfect places to go to. Wait, but if I do this, wait, do I even add ambient occlusion? Because there is no background, there is nothing to reflect. Wait, there is something to reflect from. Okay, you know what? Let's make shadows first. Yeah, I think we need shadows would be like more important. Right. You know what Amit Shah told Mamta Banerjee in a call after she lost Bengal election? Oh, yes. I understand that. No wonder she is refusing to leave at this point. Man. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. I guess this level of politics is tolerable if as long as it's like a joke or something. Yes, I guess it's fine. About this. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. This joke was also something I discovered this morning. Like I was like reading through some news, and their stuff happened after those elections were won. Like pataka thingies. Yeah, like think of it like pataka, but very exaggerated, in which there were some casualties, and the titles were like it was done by this, it was done by that, and that's when I realized like you know I guess the full form of that name is like, yeah, that thing. Oh man. Now let's blend it a little bit. I like it. It feels better in my opinion. And also some shadows are supposed to be blurred a little bit, right? That's one thing that's supposed to be done, right? It's like hard brush. Why is my soft brush acting like hard brush, man? Please work properly, bro. Now let's blend it a bit like this. That's why. I see, that's why it's happening. I'm doing it on the same layer, that's why. That's why. Okay, it's fine though. I should be blending it rather than blurring it, right? That's how it should be. Hopefully it's like good now. Wait. What the fuck happened to my... Okay, I have to remove this. Okay, okay. Oh. Tasty. It feels a little flat at some places. Oh yeah, something regarding flatness. I think they had some tutorial regarding this. Where is it? Add darker shadow. Okay, shadow thing is done. So it's done. Yeah, I need to add blood supply on top of it. Wait, what's Crab Champions? It's on sale. I don't even have anyone to play with. What multiplayer games are you even suggesting, bro? Okay, so I need to work on my flats then. Oh yeah, apply redness on some areas like blushes and everything. What is that tip? Oh, yeah, I had to apply some redness in places where bone is like closest to the skin. or something like that. I am not to remember, but okay, brush density is how you control that. Nice. Yeah, something like this. Like make it a little red over here, over here on the palm, on the shoulders. Okay, this feels better. Even on the boobs. Yeah. On the hips. Oh yeah, I have to like make a detailed thingy of the hips. It's too much. Yeah, I need to blend. Oh shoot. No, I don't need to blend. It did go out a little bit. I think it went out a little bit. Let me undo everything. I have to select everything first and then wait, let me just go to history. Switch clipping, airbrush, soft tool, okay. Let me first select the entire area. Outside. Wait, I just realized, why is that? Why is it so black over there, huh? What even is that? Oh, seeped. Wait, why mistake after mistakes happening, bro? Okay, now let's erase this. Huh? Oh, you stupid. Okay, now it look okay. It's still happening. Over here. Yeah. Do your stuff properly, my friend. As for this. Oh, okay. Remove those things over there. Okay, it is done. Okay, let the selection be there already, so I can start working on blushers. Let's go. Add some blushers over here, some red coloring. No, it's not happening because I'm stupid. Invert layer. I forgot to invert my layer, bro. Okay, now I can start working on it, I suppose. Yeah. Red. Very red. Okay. Shoulder area also red. The cuts a little bit. The hands. It's a little too red. Yes, this amount of red is good enough. And also like the armpit area also, it's gonna be a little red. Too red. Yeah, it's good enough red. Hip area is definitely gonna be like red area. I have to like render those hips. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this part's definitely gonna be red. And also okay, I'm drawing on top of it. Like, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I need to decrease the size of my brush a little bit. Red. Put all red. Oh, my fingernails. Oh yeah, that's also something I need to look up for. Or RK, what did you eat today? Oh man, you're gonna get surprised when I say it. Oh yeah, actually even yesterday I ate the same thing. So I had 6 burgers. I had like 3 chicken burger and 3 egg burger for my 3 times. I mean, you already know what I already know. So, but for these past 2 days, I have been like eating 6 burgers to satisfy my hunger for lunch and breakfast. So yeah, that's what's happening. 6 burgers in one sitting exactly. I mean, it's completely okay though. Like, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm eating those extremely huge burger. No, it's the normal one, like the small ones. So, yeah, I had like 6 of them, which is probably not a good thing because, you know, it's a burger and it's a fast food. Fast foods are never good for your health and you're not supposed to take them as a meal, but that's what I'm trying to regulate right now. I'm like not putting any mayonnaise or any cream toppings in there. Like, yeah, I'm literally eating simply the bun, the patty, the egg. I add some additional vegetables like onion, lettuce, and stuff to make it feel like a healthier food to eat. So yeah, that's how I've been like eating those burgers. Who are you and what did you do to our khichdi copy? Oh, this is my, what do you call it? Bipolar. No, it's not even called bipolar. Wait, is it called bipolar? I mean, yeah, it is me, but not the khichdi eating version. It's the other one. Yes. Now you know that there is another version of me that exists. What is a burger? Was it a burger or aloo tikki? Yeah, it's like just a burger. Like, I'm not eating aloo tikki burgers because I'm trying to find some source of protein in any way possible. So I think I'm actually consuming like at least 20 grams protein by eating 6 burgers. 6, 3, 1 egg has like around 6 grams of protein, right? So yeah, like 18 grams, then 18, 36. Let's assume I'm having chicken burgers. So yeah, like at least 35 grams of protein I have having from those burgers. So yeah, that's one thing. It's called being by yourself even when you're by. That's actually bifurcating the thought, but yeah, at least it's a good thought. Come on. Oh boy, wait till you see protein burger and protein atta. Oh, well, protein burger also actually exists. They actually give like protein slices, like it's like an optional ingredient that you can add to your burger. It's like whey protein slices. I mean, if it's like veg protein, then it's definitely whey protein, right? So yeah, they actually serve it. They have like the options to add 1 or maximum up to 2 slices in your burger. So yeah, there's that. But for me, it becomes extremely costly, man. I don't know why. The entire burger prices rise up by like 40 rupees just simply by adding 2 slices. I mean, it's not that, but still for me, it's like really expensive. So, it's just simple egg burger and chicken burger. That's it. I think I should be like also change my. What should I even eat though? 4 egg burgers would probably be more than enough. Then what my rest of my burger is gonna be? Why you could have brought cheese slices with yourself? Cheese. Doesn't cheese make you fat or something? Cheese and butter? I don't know about that protein slices. I have no idea about that. Protein, that reminds me. I haven't been buying bread and all, and now my peanut butter is just standing there. I used to have like peanut butter with my bread like literally every morning, and now I have like cutting my carbs a little bit by actually not eating bread. My jar of peanut butter just stares at me like, bro, did you forget about me? Oh man. Oh wait, shoot. How was I so distracted that I forgot to draw this? Yeah, let's make some feet even more pinky. Nice. And a little bit red over here. Yeah, redness is like nice. Okay, it's giving some form to it. Oh yeah, I need to check how to render hips. If it didn't control even fat helps. I mean, if you're eating a lot of eggs, then eggs already have like a lot of fat, right? Especially the white part. No, not the white, but the yellow part, the yolk. I even eat the yolk with the white part. So yeah, I already get a lot of fats from that also. And I think like eating any additional cheese or butter or milk would be a little too much. I am not so sure, but yeah, I guess it's gonna be a little too much. But again, I have no idea. Oh, what are you doing? Blend. Okay, blur. You know what? Let's blur right then. Wait, is it like actually removing the entire thing? Are you serious? Okay, I think it's like good enough. You do know eating eggs every day can raise your cholesterol levels high. Yeah, that's also something that I've heard. I mean, especially if you eat like more than 5 or 6 eggs a day, which is also, in my opinion, a little hilarious. But oh yeah, people who actually even eat, they actually do not eat the yolk of the egg. They just throw it away and actually eat the white part because they say that's like actually where you get your protein from. So there's that. But regarding cholesterol, that I have actually heard some mixed reviews. Let me see. Purchased clean. While eggs contain recent studies suggest it do not significantly increase cardiovascular risk for most people. Yeah, exactly. Into individuals with high LDL cholesterol, diabetes, or those concerned about heart health should consider doctor regarding the consumption. Though some studies shows no impact on these groups. Hmm. Eggs are rich in high quality protein. When was the last time you have a checkup? Like blood test and all? Well, I think it's been like more than 2 years. And also it was during that time when I was like a full blown shut-in. Yeah, like an actual shut-in, like you know, completely cut off from the world and all those stuff. And I did my blood test during that time. Like, yeah, I mean, things were happening during that time. Even my parents were concerned, so they made me do like blood test. And during that time, and also, yeah, it was also after like COVID. I had COVID like 2 times during that entire pandemic. Yeah, I got COVID like 2 times, even after having injections like vaccines. Both the times I had COVID despite all that. So yeah, like after the second time, I was like, all right, my condition of being shut in didn't change. I stayed in my house, almost did nothing, and yeah, like we went for a checkup. Like I was like getting leaner, weaker, and all those kind of stuff. So yeah, my parents made me do like a blood test. They found out like due to the lack of sunlight, I was starting to having some liver problems, they said. And I had to also do something regarding what I was eating. Like I wasn't like even properly eating during that time. Yeah, I was getting. Yeah, I had like lots of like nutrients deficiency during that time. So yeah, quite a lot of problems. I think I feel better now. I'm not so sure. Download Apollo Health and Medicine app. Get your 6-month plan. It's 200. Get you medicine at discounted and at no delivery charge. They give health checkup. Gets a health checkup. Like one health checkup. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it is something that one should do once a year all the time. So yeah, maybe I should do a health checkup someday. Oh yeah, I think I'm more looking for like checkup on cancer because yeah, for like diabetes and cancer because I have after going through a lot of news, science and everything, people might say that I mean I have come to a conclusion that I think checking for cancer is like way more important at this point in life because because they said like 1 in 3 or 4 people might get the chance of having cancer. No, I think 1 in 3 person may get cancer from what I've heard. So that's an actually very high probability. And also I have to do like I also want to do something like a psychiatric check too regarding my memory loss and other stuff. I think that's also something that I should be doing. that's like, yeah, those two are like my priority health that I wanna look for, because I think I'm eating okay enough. I mean, there are like more nutritional checking that I should be doing, but I think I'm eating decent enough. And I'm also opting for like more variations in my food in terms of like more vegetable diversity, fruit diversity, and all those stuff. And I'm also like actively like avoiding like eating sweet food, fast food. Yeah, fast food is still I'm eating, but at least I'm trying to like remove potentially harmful stuff from those fast food, you know. So yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. And also I'm doing exercise daily, like I'm almost reaching Saitama level exercise, like I'm doing 100 push-ups daily. I just need to do rest of the stuff that he had suggested somehow. I can get you a health checkup if you want. Checkups are now cheaper and they come at home. So you're going bald? Not really. I don't think I'm balding though. Like, yeah. I am not balding, and my hair is like normal, yeah. I think I'm like one of the lucky people who have little to no issue regarding balding. And also, you know what, one interesting fact about me, I haven't showered in like, I haven't applied shampoo to my head for like 2 years now. Ta-da! Yeah, just because of that one YouTube video, like I stopped using shampoo for a month. This is what happened, and I saw like, oh, that's how it feels like. So I tried it myself, and now I'm like, damn, it's actually effective. I actually used to have more problems when I used to apply shampoo to my head, but since I stopped applying shampoo, it feels so much better. Like there is no dandruff, there is no more itching. My hair feels like natural and strong and everything. Although there is like some symptom of like tiny amount of white hair that's been coming out, but still, I feel like overall my hair is healthy. So yeah, that's like a good thing. That reminds me, I have to cut my hair. Oh man. Later. Currently there's not enough time for me to put my hair. Oh yeah, first of all, what was I supposed to do anyways? Oh yeah, I was supposed to check on how to make render belly. Yes. Where is it? First of all, wait. The ideal is basically change shadow color. In the preview we worked on gray, solid, white overthink, color focus on it. Now it's multiply clear, change the base color different. Color more than a hue and saturation. If you want darker or lighter color, adjust the shadow layer. Paint over polish. So you're going bald? No, I don't think I'm going bald. Oh yeah, and most importantly, and even by research, like 40% of the factors that contributes to baldness is like stress. I am trying everything in order to lessen my stress, and also by having like good sleep, properly managing my time, and all those kind of stuff. Having a systematic plans of how my stuff. So yeah, that's also like something that I've been working on. Wait, how did I make it?
I see this all the time when people are trying to color their drawings. They just go ahead and just make a darker version of the color they're on and try to manually color it in. And not only does this take forever to do, but it also makes your artwork and drawing look messy in the end. So you spend all this time trying to shade, it doesn't even look good. But F all that, all you have to do from this point is just start off by getting one single color and then filling that color in solid. Don't worry about changing up colors right now, just focus on getting down the shadows. The reason why I recommend using one solid color first, because not only does it save you time whenever you're drawing, it's also much easier and stress-free whenever you're using just one solid color. And you can always change the color up later. You don't have to have every single color all later.
Wait, let me just find it out. Like, I wanted to type a render. Wait, where is there no rendering tutorial for hips? Are you serious? I think I have to look up Instagram for this then. Damn, there is also no tutorial for this. Are you serious? You cannot be serious, man. But what is this? Ooh, an easy method for drawing. No, I mean, I already know how to draw torso, but how do you render it though? Wait, you know what? Let me just check it out then. It was here somewhere. Where is it? Coloring belly. Okay. Yeah, I need to like getting one test every year is advised. That's why even health insurance guys keep annual health checkup for free. Wait, really? I don't even know if I have a health insurance. I always wanted one, but I have no idea if I have one. I mean, I never thought about it. My parents did all those kind of insurance and bank stuff for me, so I never really cared about it. But health insurance was something that I was looking up for. I wanna do some health insurance. Stay healthy, my friends. Okay, so I need to render it like this. Okay, I understand now. Wait, what am I even doing right now? He's stupid. Maybe make just a new layer and then just work upon it. If you wish to get one, talking to an agent will help a lot. Yeah. They said like, yeah, I mean, first I have to verify that if I have a health insurance or not. Because insurance is something that a person should have one at a time, right? So I have to check that first. Like digit and policy bazaar is worth it. Either HDFC or Nipa Bupas, they have good coverage. Yeah, I heard about that. that is true. Yeah, like that's why like if I don't have like a health insurance, then I definitely wanted to apply for it. By the way, do you have life insurance though? I mean, do you expect yourself to get yourself a life insurance? Do you even need a life insurance? Yes. What? I have life and health both. Life insurance for what? Life insurance for what exactly? I mean, aren't they usually for family support or something like 2 crore? Okay. Yeah, the 2 crore one, I see. I mean, it's like when you have a family, right? And if something happens, then your other family members will get the money, right? I mean, that's the point of life insurance, right? So you apply life insurance on the condition that you will have a family. So are you with absolute surety know that you will be having a family, and for that reason you have applied life insurance? Yes. Damn, man. I need swordfish level of confidence for this. Parents are within the definition of family and dependence. Yeah, that is also true. I mean, don't parents have their own life insurance already? I mean, wait, the 2 crore that you said, the life and health insurance both that you have, life insurance, it's for yourself, right? Because parents have their own insurance, right? So when parents are gone, usually that insurance is transferred to you, right? I mean, yeah, I guess that's how it works. Okay, so you have like a plan for that, those things in case if something happens to you. That's where the life comes in. I see. Yeah, life is for me, but until I get married, they will get whatever will come. Yeah. Damn. So Twitch gonna get married. That's insane. Let's go. Don't forget to invite me, okay? Have a lot of vada pav ready for me. And also some khichdi, if it's okay with you. Okay, how am I supposed to render this? For layer 8, it's too red. Okay, they did this. One shadow over there. Oh shit, that definition is actually insane. Yes, I will make special vada pav for you made in Sunday ka tel. What Sunday ka tel, huh? Shadow, okay. Deep shadow. Oh. So you gotta make it deeper. So multiply, okay. Yeah, something like this. And then blur. Oh my gosh. Let's go. We gotta blur it now. Oh yeah. Sunday ka tail. What is Sunday ka tail? Man, you make me do Google every time. Sunday tail. Sunday oil. Sanda oil. You said Sanda oil. Sanda oil. What even is this? Why does it look like Turkish oil? Massage oil. Huh? What? Look what I found. Man, what even are these questions, man? Look at this question. Let me put it up over here. Look at this. What are these questions? When you search Sunday ka tail, people are searching this kind of stuff. I mean, really, for this kind of stuff? I think it's gonna be really delicious though. Yeah. Do try to make one with Turkish oil. Let me see how it's gonna taste like. That's why Sunday ka tail is used for. Oh, I see, I see. Damn. Okay, let's remove this. Very interesting indeed. Yeah, try using that, and I'll have vada fried in that tail. Yep, definitely use it. I'm gonna you experiment with that vada pav. We'll eat together tonight before you feed it to your TV or someone. We'll definitely try it out. एड्रेस दे आता हूँ, बारात यहाँ थोड़ी ना आएगा. You are the one who's doing shadi, bro. I am supposed to come to your address, not mine. Nama. Bro. Giant. Okay. Oh yeah, let's save this. Let's see how it's gonna go. Okay, where is that? Oh yeah, blur. Touch up. What do you mean touch up? Okay, you made like strong thingies over there. I see how it is. Yeah, let me start like where and then what the hell? बारात को जाना आना वो वहाँ आए सुहागरात तो मैं तेरे साथ ही मनाऊंगा. चल अब रुक. ब्रो, मनाने के लिए भी जगह जरूरी है. I don't have that kind of place, and you literally gonna have a wedding, and that, you should probably be booking a 5-star hotel for that, the very least, you know, to have the best night possible. Maybe you should be doing that thing. Okay, white color, I see. Apply. You know what? Let me add glow. Lamar. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I think it's done. Oh yeah, I wanted to do one thing. So. Ha 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 ha. Copy this entire thing. Duplicate. Put it on top of my line layer. Oh, yes, yes, that's how it should be. Clip it. And then turn it to color. Color was it, huh? No, it's not color. I think it was something else. Color overlay. No, soft light or something. Was it soft light or hard light? Wait, I think it was hard light. No, 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 no. Increase my correction, adjust line width. Yeah, this is better. Okay. Okay, I think it's like Twitter ready, like almost Twitter ready. Wait. Wait, where is my thingy? Tap change image creator color for the people in. Quen library. Oh, creator image tool. Yeah, please translate this. The front layer. Oh. Okay, wait, I forgot to change this. Normal to linear one. Nope. Subtract. Nope. Lighten. Huh? Actually, lighten is that bad. Oh, wait, I forgot already about this. Multiply layer. Yeah. I forgot to add shadows to my eyes. How dare you? Yeah, okay. Wait, why is it going away? Because I'm stupid. Oh, no. Got it. Let's go. Oh, okay, much better. Much better indeed. Nice. Oh, by the way, I need to like have a separate front image, right? Okay. I like this line art though. Mapping pen is of like 2 only. As for this, get the fuck out, please. Oh, did I make it on the? Okay, that's like on a separate layer. Yeah. Okay, that doesn't really matter. Actually, yeah, I think this is better. Better one to select. This one, and this one. That one too. Okay, now let's carefully remove anything. Include this thing. Include this thing. Include this thing, this. And remove this part over here. No, I wanted to remove it, not add it, bro. Thank you. Oh yeah, and also I need to like change this. Go down over here, bro. Yes. Yes. I don't need that. Yeah. Oh shoot, wait. That's one part remaining, and this selection is done, so wait, what am I even supposed to do? I need to cut this thing out. How do I do this though? Wait, first of all, let me remove this. No, this is also gonna be a part of it. Shrink selection. Mm. Yes. Then how will I make it work then? Oh wait, I need to remove that part. Hmm. Okay, I think this selection's good enough. So, what am I supposed to do? Merge visible to a new layer, and then invert layer, invert selected area, and boom, remove everything. Kill 7 billion people. Let's go. Wait. Okay, it is actually happening. It's just that I need to remove this. Yes. Okay. It's gonna be like this. So ten mythic skins free. Are you bro? Lama. Alpha. Damn. Oh man. Wait, what? That's a horseshoe character, really? Bro. That is atrocious, man. First of all, okay, you know what? Let it be. Okay. Let's increase like everything over here. Not proportionally, right? Huh? I said proportionally. Why are you not changing? Huh? Oh, you know what? Cancel. Okay, this is done. So yeah, just like okay, you know what? Let's do it manually then. Or you know, yeah. No. Yes. Uh, let's make a new layer. Just close everything over here. Yeah, of course. Even this picture over here. Then
Within months, the Sol system was transformed. Ships that had once taken years to travel between stars now made the journey in weeks. Communication that had relied on the torturous process of astropathic transmission was now instantaneous, across distances that would have been unimaginable before. Worlds that had been dependent on terror for survival now flourished with self-sufficiency. And through it all, I served as his voice, his representative to those who could not endure his direct presence. I traveled to worlds across the galaxy, bearing his message of transformation, witnessing the dismantling of the old order and the painful birth of the new. Some received this message with joy, recognizing in it the fulfillment of prophecies they had never truly understood. Others resisted, clinging to the familiar corruptions of the old imperium, preferring the devil they knew to the uncertain future the emperor offered. The Space Marines, those who had survived his initial judgment, were divided. Some chapters embraced the return of their Gene Father, accepting with humility the corrections he offered to the flaws that had developed in their practices over the millennia. Others rebelled, unable to reconcile his new vision,
Font, let's see.
maintained for 10,000 years. These were dealt with not through destruction but through separation, contained within regions of space where they could maintain their ways without interfering with the broader transformation of humanity. The imperial cult, that vast edifice of faith built around the worship of the emperor as a god, was the most difficult institution to dismantle. For billions upon billions of humans, faith in the god emperor had been the only constant in lives filled with suffering and fear. To suddenly be told that this faith was misplaced, that the being they had worshipped rejected their devotion, was a psychological blow many could not withstand. Here, the emperor showed a mercy I had not expected. Rather than simply erasing the faith that had sustained humanity for millennia, he allowed it to be gradually transformed. The rituals remained, but their meaning changed. The prayers once directed to him now became meditations on human potential. The churches once dedicated to his worship became centers for learning, for community, for the nurturing of the psychic gifts that were becoming more common as his presence in the warp stabilized the immaterium. And throughout all of this, the enemies of mankind were not idle. The forces of chaos, though driven back by his initial awakening, regrouped in the depths of the warp, their gods weakened but not destroyed. The alien empires that had preyed upon human worlds watched with a mixture of fear and opportunity as the Imperium transformed, some seeking alliance with the new order, others preparing for war against a distracted foe. I stood now on the bridge of a ship unlike any that had existed before, a vessel that traveled not through the warp, but through folds in real space itself, technology recovered from the dark age of technology and enhanced by the Emperor's own understanding of the universe. Through the view screen, I could see a world that had once been a battleground between the forces of the Imperium and the Tyranid Hive fleet behemoth. A world that had been stripped of all life, left as a barren rock in the void. The Emperor stood beside me, his form still radiant but now contained, focused, the raw power of his awakening channeled into specific purpose. Around us, a team of former tech priests, now freed from the religious dogma that had constrained their innovation, monitored systems beyond my comprehension. "This world will live again, Malkion," he said, his voice carrying that familiar mixture of authority and vision that had once united humanity. "Watch." He extended his hand toward the view screen, and I felt a surge of power unlike anything I had experienced since his awakening. The barren world seemed to shimmer, as if viewed through heat haze. And then, impossibly, I saw green spreading across its surface, oceans forming where there had been only dust, life returning to a world that had been dead for centuries. "This is but the first," he continued, lowering his hand as the transformation stabilized. "One world among millions that will be reborn. The Imperium consumed its worlds, Malkion, stripped them of resources, poisoned them with industry, sacrificed them for strategic advantage. That ends now. Humanity will learn to nurture the worlds it inhabits, to live in balance with the universe rather than in constant war against it." I watched in awe as the world before us continued to transform, life spreading across its surface at an accelerated rate, guided by technologies and powers I could barely comprehend. This was not the Emperor I had known from the histories, the conqueror who had united Terra through war before launching his crusade to reclaim the stars. This was something both more and less than that being, more in power, in vision, in the scope of his ambition, less in the human fallibility, the compromises, the expediency that had characterized his earlier reign. "What of our enemies, my lord?" I asked. "The forces of chaos have not been destroyed. The Tyranids continue to approach from the intergalactic void. The Necrons awaken on tomb worlds throughout the galaxy. Even as we rebuild, they prepare to tear down what we create. He turned to me, his expression thoughtful.
Starting point.
Depths that seem to extend to the beginning of time itself. The greatest enemy humanity has ever faced was itself, Malkion, its own fear, its own ignorance, its own willingness to sacrifice freedom for security, truth for comfort. Address those flaws, and the external enemies become manageable. He gestured again, and the view screen shifted, showing me visions of conflicts throughout the galaxy. Space Marines fighting alongside Eldar against daemons of the warp, human colonists sharing worlds with Tau, each race maintaining its freedom while benefiting from cooperation. Even more surprising, Necron lords entering into agreements with human leaders, ancient enemies finding common ground in tow, the face of greater threats. Not all Xenos are enemies to be exterminated, Malkion. Some are potential allies, others are simply different forms of life with their own right to existence. The future I envision includes a humanity that is secure enough in its own identity to coexist with those who are different, rather than fearing and destroying them reflexively. This was heresy by the standards of the Imperium I had known. The xenophobia that had defined human interaction with alien species for millennia was deeply ingrained, reinforced by genuine threats and traumatic encounters. Yet I could not deny the logic of his words. In a galaxy filled with threats from within and without, allies of any species were valuable. And what of the greater threat? I asked. The reason you created the Imperium in the first place. The psychic awakening of humanity, the vulnerability to chaos that comes with it. His expression grew more serious, the light from his form intensifying slightly. That threat remains, and it is graver than ever. Humanity stands at the threshold of its psychic evolution. The number of human psychers born increases with each generation. Without guidance, without protection, they remain vulnerable to the predations of the warp. The entities you know as the Chaos Gods would use them as gateways into real space, as they have done countless times before. He turned fully to me now, his presence filling my consciousness. This is why I cannot simply withdraw, Malkion. This is why the Imperium, even in its corrupted form, was necessary. Humanity needs protection during this vulnerable phase of its development. It needs a shepherd to guide it through the treacherous path of psychic evolution. It needs me. The humility in those last words surprised me. For all his power, for all the changes he had wrought across the galaxy, he recognized the limits of what even he could accomplish. Humanity's path forward was not assured. The threats were real, the dangers immense. Even with his direct intervention, success was not guaranteed. And that, I realized, was the true difference between the being before me and the god that humanity had worshipped for 10,000 years. The god emperor of the imperial cult was infallible, omnipotent, the answer to every question, and the solution to every problem. The actual emperor was something far more complex. A being of immense power and knowledge, yes, but one who recognized the challenges ahead, who understood that the future was not predetermined, who knew that even he could fail if the choices made were wrong. I will continue to serve, my lord, I said, feeling the weight of that commitment anew. For as long as I am needed, for as long as humanity requires guidance through what is to come. He placed his hand on my shoulder, the touch sending currents of energy through my body, rejuvenating me in ways I had not known were possible. Your service has only just begun, Malkion. The transformation of the Imperium, the rebirth of worlds, the reshaping of humanity's relationship with the galaxy. These are but the first steps on a journey that will span millennia. There will be setbacks, there will be failures, there will be moments when all we have built seems on the verge of collapse. His gaze intensified, looking not at me but through me, to futures I could not perceive. But there will also be triumphs beyond imagining, discoveries that redefine what it means to be human, achievements that transcend the limitations of flesh and time, a humanity freed from the shackles of fear and ignorance, ready at last to claim its rightful place in the
Wait, what?
cosmos. He turned back to the view screen, to the reborn world now teeming with life where once there had been only death. That is what happens when the Emperor wakes, Malchion. Not the end of all things, as you once feared, but the beginning of what should always have been. I stood beside him, watching as the future unfolded, one world at a time. And I knew that though the path ahead would be difficult, though the challenges would seem insurmountable at times, the journey had begun. The true Imperium, the one he had always intended, was taking its first faltering steps. What happens when the Emperor wakes? Everything changes. Nothing is certain. The future lies unwritten. But for the first time in 10,000 years, there is genuine hope for mankind. Not the false hope of salvation through faith, not the desperate hope of survival against impossible odds, but the real hope of becoming something more than what we have been, of fulfilling the potential that has always existed within humanity, of creating a future worthy of the sacrifices that have sustained us through our long night. The Emperor is awake, the transformation has begun, and I, Malchion Vane, will bear witness to whatever comes next.
Desktop. Where's Clip Studio Paint? There is no Clip Studio Paint. Oh man. Okay, let me find it. Where is it though? I did not expect it to be like this. Wait, what went wrong then? Sweater only, so let me, this one is with sweater, okay. And what I had to do was like select everything in the insights. Yep, there was a problem over here. Anyone else? Okay. I never knew about this. Wait, there also. Somewhere along the way. Erase everything. Okay, hopefully it's better this time. Okay. Now let's save this and try it once more. Okay. Sweater only, and then this one. Wait, where did you even add? And then add this. What is happening? Wait, what? Did I not save this? Oh, I think I did not export this. Are you serious? Okay, now it should be better. Yep, definitely better. What about this? What is this? Wait, I need to check that thing. More. Where is it? Bookmarks. Yeah, I think it's in bookmark. The image, it will now for upload the post. No more 2 pixels in the last cell. Save and post. Okay. Lama. Okay, save and post then. Okay, so let's try this out then. What? The hmm. Oh. What even is this? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Oh man. Fuck. Wait, why is it working this way though? Uh, wait, let me try it like. Okay, this is done, so remove this. Remove like, okay, all colors are removed. Only this remains, right? So let's try it again. Export PNG. Yes, thank you. Now let's try. Does it work this time? Nope. Okay, this is so stupid. Okay, I think I need to make this transparent, or maybe like this. Yeah. Export single layer. Yep. And for this, export single layer PNG. It's already exported. Okay. Let me try it out then. Sweater only. Lamau. What was I expecting, bro? Your full art in Jeep. Visible or transparent background. Oh, okay, okay. Ah. Remove this thing. Okay, now export PNG. And as for this, it's already in JPG, right? Okay, now let me try this out. Sweater only. Okay, let's see if this works. It works. This thing works. Let's go. Finger. Hash. Fuck me. What is this trend even called? Is there no hashtag for like Raku Raku? Hmm. Bro, really? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.